Hey students, today I'm just going to make two little videos. The first one is just reviewing the exponent properties, and the second video is going to be doing a couple of your homework problems together. The first property of exponents that you've already learned is when you are multiplying together two powers, meaning two terms with exponents that have the same base. And when you add the exponents together. So for example, if I'm multiplying x to the second times x to the fourth, I'm going to have x to the 2 plus 4 or x to the 6th. Now it's always better to understand rather than memorize. You understand x squared, if we expand that, that means two little x's multiplied together. And x to the fourth means four little x's multiplied together. And if you count those up, you have six little x's multiplied together. So if you understand that, you will remember this property. The second property is when we are raising a power to a power. We're taking a term with an exponent in parentheses and raising that whole thing to a power. And in that case, these two numbers we multiply together. So for example, x to the second, when raised to the fourth power, is going to be x to the 2 times 4 or x to the 8th. And if we think about why that is, why that works, if I think about this, what this says is I'm taking x squared and multiplying it by itself 4 times. So I have x squared times x squared times x squared times x squared. And I know using the property above that this would be x to the 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 or 8. And if I think about it completely expanded, I've got x times x for each little pair here. So if you count those up, I have 8 powers of x. Okay, the last one is when you're dividing. It depends on which exponent is bigger. If you're dividing two terms, again, these have the same base. You subtract the exponents. So if the one on top is bigger, the exponent on top is bigger, then your answer is x to the a minus b. You simply subtract. So in this case, x to the 7th over x to the 3rd would be x to the 7 minus 3, which is x to the 4th. If we think about that, why that makes sense, x to the 7th on top is like having 7 little x's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And x to the 3rd in the denominator is 3 little x's. And if you cancel the big fat ones, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and you're left with 4 powers of x in the numerator. If the number on the denominator is the bigger number, the bigger exponent, then we subtract in the other direction. And we have 1 over, and we subtract b minus a and leave that in the denominator. So for example, x to the squared over x to the 2nd over x to the 5th is going to be x to the 2, well, we won't deal with negative exponents quite yet. What we're going to say is this is going to be 1 over x to the 5 minus 2, or 1 over x to the 3rd. And again, if we think about what that looks like when we expand it, x squared in the numerator is 2 little x's multiplied together. X to the 5th in the denominator is 5 of them. If we cancel those ones, we're left with x to the 3rd in the denominator, and we have just an invisible 1 in the numerator. Okay. The fourth property is that anything raised to the 0 power equals 1. This can be a variable, a number, anything. So if I have 8 to the 0 power, it equals 1. If I have, y to the 0 power, it equals 1. Okay, the last one is the negative exponent. And you don't read this as like a minus number. It doesn't make anything negative. What this says, when you see that negative, your brain should say the reciprocal of. So this says the reciprocal of x to the a power. So it means 1 over x to the a. It means it goes downstairs. From upstairs in the numerator, it goes downstairs without a negative exponent. So when I say x to the negative 5, that means the reciprocal of x to the 5th. The reciprocal of x to the fifth. When the negative exponent is in the denominator, like 1 over x to the negative fourth, that says 1 over the reciprocal of x to the fourth. All that does is that means you send that upstairs as a positive exponent. So a negative in the numerator, we'll send it downstairs. A negative in the denominator, we'll send it upstairs. That's it. And we'll go to the next video where we'll do a few of your homework problems together.